Stanley Howard at Duke University made this classic statement. Look at this. He says the assumption is that there is someone just right out there for you to marry, and that if you look closely enough, you will find that right person. This assumption overlooks a critical aspect of marriage. It fails to appreciate the fact that you will always marry the wrong person. It's a conclusive statement, and I agree. You will always marry the wrong person. Look at why. We never know who we marry, because they themselves don't know themselves in marriage. So it's not fraud that they are changing. They are in a different terrain. So who you met before marriage is not who you will be with in marriage. They also don't know their version in marriage. We never know who we marry. We just think we do. Or even if we first marry the right person, just give it a while and he or she will change. For marriage being the enormous thing that it is, means you are not the same person after you entered it. See what? Because you look at this prospective person, you say this person is characterized by XYZ, great, marry. And now all of a sudden it's XYZ, D, A, B, C, and D, E, F, because you are in there. In other words, he's saying the person changes because you join their life. Before you got married, they want to wake up by 7. But now you have joined their life, you watch movies late. That's your own person. So you guys are up having sex, and nobody's young here. And don't look like that. You know what I'm saying now. And doing all those naughty things, I don't really care. And you guys are sleeping by 3 o'clock. They're not going to wake up by 7 anymore. You are changing them. You were single before. You had time to go to the gym. Now you now have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or now you are married. You are eating up and down. You know your body will. You get what I'm saying? Your body will change. You are wondering, this was how you were when I married you. We have eaten ice cream 6 times. You say I will not change? Do you get what we are saying? So some people are not practical. I'm telling you. You are laughing, but you're understanding. Marriage is so big that the minute you enter it, you change the person. The primary challenge of marriage throughout this course of marriage is learning to love and care for the stranger you often find yourself married to. And then he said this, and I feel like this is something I should even frame. He said, as I look back on when Jesus, do I give this example? Okay, or die. As I look back on when I and my wife first held hands before we were married, this is Tim Keller speaking, I realized that the initial thrill was not born out of the magnitude of my love for her, but rather from the flattery of her choosing me. Listen to what he said. And I think this is true of all of us, because I thought about it. I said, this is amazing. He said the excitement was less about, oh, I really love this person, and more about the flattery of her choosing me. The excitement was less about, oh, I really love this person, and more about what it did for my ego. Someone I admired, someone I thought was wonderful, attractive, was finally responding to me. That feeling is not necessarily love. It is often ego. As C.S. Lewis writes in the Screwtape Letters, much of what humans call love is really hunger. An ego looking for feeling for emptiness. When someone's attention or affection feels that emptiness, we mistake the satisfaction of our pride for genuine love. I'll tell you a story. So, I knew of this guy, and maybe this month I would talk about it, the dangers of cohabitation. Once you start living with okay. So there was this guy who was dating this girl. They were dating for about 11 years. And obviously, you know what happened. They broke up now. Those things don't work. Once you start living with somebody, they've seen you. They are not going to marry you. Because the first thing that happens to you when you get married, you have a rush of, did I make a mistake? Because you are living with this person, you have seen everything about them. And since there is nothing legal, nothing covenantal backing you guys up, there's no way they are going to stay with you. They will dump you. They've seen the best of you. They have to try if there is something easier out there. It's just common sense. So, was dating this girl for about 11 years, and they stayed together for about 4 years. So they eventually broke up. And then we're having a conversation. So I asked him, I said, he said he's dating somebody now. I said, oh, amazing. He said, PD, I have never felt love before. It was just now I felt love. I said, wait. I said, so you are telling me that you spent 11 years of your life and you were not in love. He has forgotten the emptiness that she was feeling. It's 11 years is enough to forget how you first felt. He said, PD, no. I said, really? He said, this girl I'm currently dating now I know the meaning of love. So I said, wait, I want to ask you questions. I said, your ex-girlfriend, why was she staying with you? He said, I was financially responsible for her. I said, so he said, going to work, I had to give her. At the point she wasn't working, I was the one helping her. I said, I said, okay, so did you feel tired? He said, she was very lazy, blah, 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 blah. Things that you see, married people say, this and this and that. So I asked him up front. I said, and you guys were having a lot of sex? He said, we are staying together, PD, I can't lie. I said, okay. I said, this new girlfriend, how long have you been together? He said, 4 months. I said, and you feel love? He said, yes. Remember what this man said? He said, it's hunger that they are mistaken for genuine love. I said, have you slept with her? He said, no. Follow me. Have you slept with her? He said, no. I said, is she richer than you? He said, yes. I said, do you feel privileged that she's dating you? He said, absolutely. I said, that's what you feel. It's not love. You are satisfied with the idea that somebody so high like that can stoop so low to be with you. That feeling is fueling your ego. Don't mistake it for love. And listen, I'm telling you, so you will not be a casualty of somebody's ego. Listen, if you put yourself down, they will trample upon you. So what he was saying, love, it was then he realized, you know, when you're talking to somebody and then the person stops and says, am I in love, or am I looking forward to achieving stuff with this girl? I told him, I said, oh boy, after you sleep with her 17 times, because you that I'm looking at, you have not changed, I will come and ask you again if you are in love. He said, PD, with what you have said, I will make sure it doesn't happen. Listen, I'm saying it now because you can meet somebody in church and feel like you have hit a jackpot, and that is the beginning of your destruction. Not everybody saying Lord, Lord is under his lordship. And don't miss this, anybody that can sin with you will sin against you. Anybody that sins with you will sin against you. Why should you trust somebody to not cheat on you if they were sleeping with you before you married?